Hey Juan, how's it going?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. What about you?
Good, good, good. Thanks for joining. How's life?
Yeah, sorry, but a plane passing by, so I can hear.
Oh, no problems. We can wait.
There are very noises.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
How's life?
How's what?
How's life? How's everything?
How's life?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, is it must be, I think.
Yeah, life is good. I think the weather is finally getting nice. It's a Friday, so do you have any plans for the weekend?
Not yet. Not. No, I have nothing yet.
Nothing, no, nothing special planned.
Not that I remember because my memory is very bad. But
That's
no,
not a
no, no,
problem.
not that I remember.
Good, good. That's good. At least, I don't know. I like the weekend because you don't have to work and you can just relax at least at home and not have to worry about anything too important.
Well, in your case, but in my case, every day is like a weekend. I
Oh,
have
that's
so
true.
much to do every day.
Uh-huh. That's true. That's true. Is it is the weather changing over there, or is it not changing so
Yeah, yeah.
much?
It's we can say that the winter is coming because
Uh-huh.
it's getting a lot of cold. The temperature is getting down.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I think it's probably not going to snow here this week, but I think maybe in 2 or 3 weeks it'll definitely we'll have our first snowstorm.
Yeah, yeah. See
Yeah,
it.
'cause
It's not common at this time, all right?
sometimes it is common actually, honestly. It changes every year. In Iowa, the state that's immediately to our west,
Uh-huh.
they already got snow last month actually.
Oh,
So yeah, they got a very early snowstorm. Other places got snow very early, but we are still. It's relatively dry today. It's sunny. Nothing. Not very cold. It doesn't seem like it's very cold outside, but I think
oh,
it'll change. I think by Thanksgiving it will change. Another 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. There is like in the movies that all the tree is falling, snow
All the
is fall.
leaves, yeah, all the leaves are fallen. Yeah, so the leaves are gone. Most of them, I would say that, for example, we don't have that many pine trees here. You know, the pine trees, they don't have leaves, they have needles.
Uh-huh.
Those trees, those are still okay, but the normal trees, they don't have leaves. No, last week, 2 weeks ago, they had maybe yellow leaves, red leaves. You know, the leaves changed color,
Uh-huh.
and then this week there's really nothing. The leaves are all on the ground. They all fell.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
All the trees are naked.
the trees are naked. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Which when the snow falls, the one of the nicest things about the winter is the snow falls on the trees, makes the trees look very beautiful. You know, the white branches of the trees, and you also get a lot of when you have ice, for example. It's bad for the road, but when the ice falls on the trees, it makes a very nice, beautiful kind of crystal-like
Yeah,
image.
yeah. I
You
can
know,
imagine. Yeah.
yeah. So it's very nice at night, especially because snow. I'm sure you've seen snow, but snow actually bounces light. It actually reflects light. So anytime you're outside and it's at nighttime, if there's snow on the ground, it looks brighter outside. Everything is bright because the light is reflecting from the snow.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
imagine you have to use sunglasses in order that you can the light don't bothers you, I think.
It's not that bad, honestly. It's not super bright. But it has some light, so you can when you're walking outside. You don't need sunglasses for. Actually, it depends. It depends. Sometimes I think people might use sunglasses if they're driving, for example, a long distance,
Hmm.
and if the entire area had a lot of snowfall, right? Maybe this city and another city 1 hour away, we all got a large snowstorm. If the sun falls directly on the snow, right? Like maybe it's like morning time, like and it's not cloudy. The sunlight falls on the snow. It can get very bright.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, you're right. At night, though, not so bad. At night, for example, the lights outside or the lights in other places, it's not too bad. But if you're driving long distance, yeah, I think definitely it's good to have some sunglasses nearby.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you because the first time that I was in the snow, I have to wear because it's very bright.
Yeah, it can get very bright.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think 100%. Although, I need to buy sunglasses. That's actually a good idea. I, that reminds me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have sunglasses, but they're a little bit less powerful. I want one that's more fashionable and also a little bit more powerful. So
Mm.
yeah, Liliana, how's it going? Welcome.
All is going good, thank you.
Awesome.
Uh, Hi, Juan.
Hello, hello.
Thanks for joining, guys. Let's get started. Actually, I realized the last class we had a bunch of people, so uh, we don't want to wait until much later to start. So let's get started right now, guys, actually. Today we're going to be talking about polite questions. So, or not polite questions really, but how we can make polite phrases, right, in English. Hey, oh, bunch of people. Fantastic, fantastic. We got Hafa and we have Anatoly. Hey, how's it going, Anatoly?
Hello everyone. I'm fine, thank you.
Nice, nice. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
And Hafa, how's it going?
Yeah, perfect. I'm doing pretty well. Sorry for the delay, but I couldn't join before.
No worries, no worries. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hi,
So,
everyone.
yeah, we're doing good.
Hmm.
Yeah. How's
Perfect.
Hafa? You're in Brazil, right, Hafa?
No, I'm Spaniard. I'm from Spain, in
You're from
Europe.
you're from Spain, so your name is
Yeah,
actually Rafael, right?
yeah, Rafael.
Not
Yeah.
not
Mm.
Rafael. I'm sorry, because
No,
I
it
some
doesn't
folks
matter.
some folks from Brazil they Rafael. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Rafa, welcome again. Welcome.
Thank you.
Uh, so yeah, guys, when it comes to looking at polite questions, we're going to be looking at polite questions today in our conversation, right? we want to be polite when we are talking to people, maybe people we don't know, people that are older than us, right? Whatever the society that you are in kind of dictates, right? It's important to be as professional and as polite as possible. So that's going to be the first part of the class. We're going to look at how we make polite phrases. Then the second part of the class, we are actually going to be looking at an economic trend in China that is changing the way a lot of things are produced, a lot of products are produced, and specifically in the case of fur, right? So fur products, for example, fur coats, other kinds of luxury items, Chinese people are starting to increasingly demand these kinds of products. Whereas maybe before, a few decades ago, they were not the biggest market for fur coats or other kinds of clothing. Now fur has become a luxury commodity in China that is more desired. There's a high demand for it now from the Chinese people. So we'll take a look at that as well. To get started, guys, to get thinking about polite questions, I want to ask you guys a question myself. How would you, for example, let's say you're in a store, right? And since we're going to talk about coats today, let's imagine you're in some kind of a clothing store, right? And let's say you need to use the fitting room, right? In American English, we say fitting room or fitting room, but I don't know what they say in England, for example. It's the room where if you want to try a dress or a shirt before you buy, you can go to that room and you can try it on. You can see if it fits, right? So the fitting room would be one place that I would want to go. You know, is this jacket too big for me? Does it go well with this shirt? You know, let me ask somebody for help, right? So I could go up to somebody and I could say, "Excuse me, sir, would you mind telling me where the fitting rooms are?" Right? "Excuse me, sir, would you mind telling me where the fitting rooms are?" That's a very polite way to ask something, right? "Would you mind" is probably the most polite form that we will look at, right? I could also say, "Could you please help me find, could you please show me where the fitting rooms are?" Right? "Could you please take me to the fitting rooms? I'm lost. I've been looking for them for 5 minutes." Right? Whatever the case is. So let's think of ourselves as being in a store trying to ask a question. It doesn't have to be fitting room. It doesn't have to be anything related to trying something on, but something that you could ask someone in a store. So let's get started, actually. Let's start with Anatoly, please. Anatoly, go ahead.
Okay. The first one, I could say hello, sir, or madam. Could you please show me where is the fitting room? It is a question which I could did, but after your explanation, maybe I could change. Would you mind show me, please, where is the fitting room?
Yeah, fantastic. All of those work, right? All of those work. The "would you mind" is just an extremely polite form, right? Which you might not want to necessarily use. I mean, you can be polite and still use could, still use, you know, if you're saying please, could you please show me that where the fitting rooms are, right? Could you please take me to the fitting rooms? All of those are perfect, right? Would you mind is also perfect. So any of those examples would work really well. Just depends on the situation, right? Maybe if the person's a little bit older, I would go with the "would you mind," right? I would say "would you mind." If the person's a little bit older, if the person is my age, I probably would just say, you know, "Hello, could you help me find? Could you please help me find whatever?" Right? Sometimes I've been in stores where the workers are younger than me, right? I'm pretty old. I'm like 24. Some of these kids are like 18, 19, and I still call them sir or ma'am, you know, but I know they're younger than me, you know. So sometimes you can do that for fun or whatever you're comfortable with, right? Perfect, perfect. Great job, Anatoly. Juan, what about you? Let's say you're in a store. What could you do?
Okay, well, I could say, excuse me, could you tell me where the fitting room is?
Fantastic. Excuse me, could you tell me where the fitting room is? Right? Fantastic. Very common thing to say. You're polite. Perfect, right? Could you tell me where the fitting room is? Liliana.
Good morning. Could you please take me where the fitting rooms are?
Yeah, that works, right? Could you please take me to where the fitting rooms are, right? Or let's say you guys are all using the fitting room example, right? Let's think of one other example, Liliana. Can you give me one more example?
Okay.
Yeah.
For example, I'm at the airport and I say, okay, again, good morning, sir, madam.
Uh-huh.
Could you would you mind tell me where is the information place, please?
Yeah, fantastic. Would you mind telling me,
Would you
right?
mind telling me,
Yeah,
telling me where the information place is?
yeah, the information booth, maybe, right? Booth.
Say put.
Yeah, the information booth, the information center, or maybe information desk also, right? Any of those. Any of those would work, right? Would you mind showing me would you mind showing me where the information center is or the information booth is, right? And so the great job, Liliana, with that one. Juan, pardon me, could you show me that pants? Everything is fantastic, Juan, except for one thing. The distributive that you're using here. Instead of that pants, it's got to be something else pants. It can't be that. Remember, that is singular. Yeah, yeah. It's got to be those, right? Esos pantalones, right? In Spanish, esos pantalones, because it's plural, exactly. So, could you please show me those pants? Yeah. Or if you're saying these, it could be these as well, right? So you can use both of those examples. But besides that, that's perfect, right? Pardon me, fantastic way to begin the sentence, right? Pardon me, excuse me, could you show me those pants, right? Or what about, let's see, Rafael, I'll give you an example. Let's say you are in a store and you try something that is, you don't want that color, right? They only have maybe a black colored shoe and you want something that's a different color. So how could you ask someone at the store to help you with that?
Oh, sir, I'm very grateful with your new shoes, but I would rather another kind of color. If you don't mind, could you show me, please, another kind of colors?
Fantastic. Yeah. Go ahead, keep going, Rafael. This is good.
The blue ones or the pink ones. I think it's a better idea for me because something like that.
Yeah, you could go on and you could have a conversation with the person if you want, right? Depending on what you like, right? A lot of store employees, they like to have conversations with people, right? When I was younger, I worked in a store, and sometimes I hated customers who were very dry, like, I want a blue one, I want a red one. Okay, fine. But, it's nice to have a conversation with people sometimes. So, yeah, could you please, Rafael started very well, excuse me, I'm very grateful that you have this kind of shoe, right? But would you, or Rafael, I think you said could you, or something about selling, right? Could you repeat that part of your sentence again?
I don't remember. Could you show me?
Yeah, could you sell me or could you show me, either one of those, right? Could you show me some other colors that you are selling, right? Or you can also say something like, are these shoes available in any other colors, right? Are these shoes available in any other colors? Are these pants available in any other colors? Could you please tell me, right? Could you please tell me if these pants are available in any other colors, right? So we have those kinds of examples for us, right? Let's say, Liliana, I'm going to ask you this time. Let's say you see something in the store that the size is not right for you, right? It's way too big. It's way too big. What could you do?
Could you have the same a blouse or the same dress in a bigger, sorry, in a smaller size? Because it's too big for me.
Yeah, it's too big for me, right? Fantastic. And you could also, what you said was great, Lilian, but you could also use the same idea of the shoes in any other color, right? You could use that same construction, really. You could say, is this dress available in a smaller size, right? Excuse me, guys.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah. Are these pants? Could you tell me if these shorts, if these pants are available in a smaller size, right? So it really works interestingly because you can form these sentences any way you like, right? A lot of different ways, and you can use the could, the excuse me, the good morning, all the different things you guys said. Pardon me, right? Great, great, great examples. So let's get started, guys, to looking at some of the specific types, right? So when we see the specific types of polite questions, right, you can use the past tense sometimes to make something more polite, right? And I think of this as something that I love to use restaurants because restaurants, you have a lot of polite, conversation. If somebody brings you something, or if you're the host of if you're hosting somebody else at your home, you could use the past tense. You could use the verb did, right? So did you want sugar with your tea, right? Did you want cream with your coffee, right?
Even if you are talking in the present, you use the past to ask?
Yeah, in this example, we exclusively use did, right? Even though like it's something that just happened, right? Maybe you just served the coffee, right? And you're telling somebody, did you want cream with your coffee, right? Did you want some butter with your toast? I don't know, whatever the case might be, right? We can use the did you something construction, and usually it's did you want, right? Did you want something in addition? Yeah.
Why did and not do? Do you want?
You can do you want also, right? But do does not sound as polite as did.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that's the only difference. Yeah, because I don't even know, guys, why, right? I don't know why. It's just the conversation. Like, honestly, I feel it's just like when you hear it with the person. So the person asking you, did you, right? They're acting like they made the mistake. They forgot to bring it for you. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you're at my house and I serve you tea, and then I say, Liliana, I'm so sorry. Did you want sugar with your tea? Like it's my mistake that I didn't bring you the sugar, right?
Okay, okay.
Did you want that? I'm so sorry. Did you want that, right? That's why it's the past tense, right? Makes it a little bit more polite. Because if I say, do you want? It's like, oh, okay, do you want this? It's like you're not showing yourself to be you're not saying that it was your fault.
Got it.
You might be saying, now tell me, do you want or do you not want, right?
If you forget to offer something.
Yeah, the idea is that you're forgetting to offer something and you're asking them politely, would they like something, right? So it's a little bit more, it's like a play on words, right? It's you're being nice, but maybe you're being fake at the same time, whatever, People are sometimes fake when they're nice, hopefully not always. But Anatoly, so you asked, would you like cream in your coffee? That's perfect as well. Absolutely perfect, right? Would you like is the same exact, very, very polite way to say something, yeah. Would you like cream in your coffee? Yeah, absolutely. So all of these types, right? So you can use did if you guys want, right? If you guys want to use this did construction. We can also use can and could, right? Now, depends really on personal preference, right? I tend to be more polite than normal if I don't know the person, right? I really try to be as polite as I can, and could is more polite than can, right? Can you can use if you're talking to family members, can you close the door? You don't even have to say please, I mean, whatever, like it's my sister or my mom, whatever. Can you please close the door, right? Or can you close the door when you leave, right? But could is asking like, it's giving the other person a choice almost, right? A little bit more of a polite way. Could you please close the door? Kind of like would, right? Would and could, kind of these conditional phrases in English, we're giving them the option more so than with can. Can is almost like an order, can you do something for me?
Mm.
You're giving them an option, but it doesn't sound as polite as could you do something for me, or could you please do something, right? So we had the did, so did you want, and then blah, 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 right? We also have could you, and then a verb, right? Blah, blah, blah. So could you please help me with something, right? We almost always put the please directly after the could you, right? Almost always. We try to, sometimes it's interesting, people put the please at the end of a sentence. It still works, but it's for could you or would you, or could you specifically, we put the please right after the you, right? Could you please do something for me? Could you please show me where the fitting rooms are, right? All those types of examples. So far, guys, any questions on the did and the could constructions, as well as maybe the would? Thank you, Anatoly, for sharing that, right? Any of these three? Any questions?
No, not so far.
Make sense, Raphael? Is everything good?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's so difficult to find. Right now, it's so difficult to find the unmute press button in the Hangout. It's horrible to find it.
I know they
Sorry
changed
for the delay.
No, that's fine. I know they changed the interface. They confused me as well. It's
Yeah.
very frustrating. Juan, what about you? Did you want to say something? I'm sorry.
No, I just say that I have no question so
No
far.
questions. Okay.
I have one, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. No, go for it.
If I say, for example, pardon me or excuse me, I'm sorry, what is the a more common way to say in an informal conversation, I'm sorry?
Well, if you say excuse me at the beginning, do you also want to say I'm sorry after you say excuse me?
No.
That's fine, yeah. I think just excuse me is okay, yeah. You know, sometimes I go crazy, right? So sometimes I say, for example, if I'm at the store, if I'm talking to like a cop, if I'm talking to a policeman or a policewoman, I am usually going to go above my level of polite, right? Because I don't want them to, you know, think anything poorly of me. So sometimes I could say, excuse me, sir, you know, so I'm sorry to bother you, right? Could you please show me? Yeah, but it's kind of fake, right? I mean, like if I'm talking to a cop, like I'm sorry to bother you, like I'm really not. I mean, you know, it's his job, right? I mean, he's there to help people, or if they're, for example, at the information booth, right? Excuse me, ma'am, I'm sorry to bother you, but do you know where the thing, whatever is, right? And you can say that I'm sorry, but you know, in English, it's a little overkill. We say the word overkill, like you are really going beyond the level that you need to go, right? You're working too hard. It shouldn't be that hard, right? But you can if you want. I've done it myself. I'm guilty, right? I'm sorry to bother you. I'm sorry to ask you this question. No, I'm not. I'm not sorry. You know, it's just for fun. I like to say that
For
sometimes.
example, if I interrupt you, I say I'm sorry, or
Yeah, you could say, excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I have a question, right? But it's such a long phrase. Like, you know, you're taking more time saying that than if you just said, excuse me, I have a question, or excuse me, but you know, whatever, right? So, and depending between excuse me and pardon me, the difference really is not there. They're both very polite. I think in England they say more pardon me, and here we say more excuse me. But really, there's no difference. You can say, I'm sure you can say pardon me anywhere in the U.S. and people wouldn't care. But it has a degree of sounding more British to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit more British to say.
And I'm sorry, it's more American than British. You said more than.
Excuse me is more American than pardon me, and I'm sorry is the same in both countries. I would say I'm sorry is pretty normal. Yeah, we could say it both ways. Yeah. So awesome, guys. Great questions. So can you and could you, right? Both work the same way. Could is a little bit more polite, right? And then when we ask questions at the beginning, we can focus on words like excuse me or pardon me, right? And we can also say please at the end of a phrase if we want. Or in some cases, for example, with the could you construction, we put the please right after the you, after the subject, right? So could you please help me? Could you please wash the dishes? Whatever, whatever the case might be. The please can go, in most other cases, the please goes at the end. But in this example, with the could you, the please goes after the you, right? And excuse me is usually the very first thing you say, right? Very first thing you say is excuse me. You want to grab the person's attention, or pardon me, you want to get the person's attention. And then we can go from there, right? And then in terms of the most polite way, it's would you mind, right? If you are saying would you mind doing something, then you are really giving the other person the option, right? And people make a mistake in English all the time. Native speakers make a mistake in English all the time, right? I make this mistake all the time. If someone says, do you mind or would you mind, right? We hear both of those. So remember, Juan, you asked before about do and did. When we say mind, like would you mind, we also very, very often say do you mind, right? Because it's not in the past tense. You're asking them at that point, right? Do you mind if I ask you a question, right? That could be another really kind of flowery, fake way for me to say something to a police person, for example, right? Do you mind if I ask you a question? Excuse me, sir. Do you mind if I ask you a question? Do you have a minute, right? Are you free right now? Do you have a minute, right? Do you have 1 minute, right? We don't say one, it's just do you have a minute, right? Another thing that we use do for, do you have a minute? Yeah, sure, go ahead, whatever. The person says, yeah, sure, whatever, right? And then you say, okay, then you ask your question, right? But you can use the do you mind or the would you mind. And specifically you could say, do you have a minute, or do you mind if I ask you a question, right? Those are also some very polite ways to say something. So this is where the mistake is, right? Native speakers, if somebody asks you, do you mind? The answer, if you want to help them, is no, I don't mind, right? Minding something means that you are like offended by it or hurt by it, right? But native speakers all the time, if you ask them, do you mind? They say, yeah, go ahead. But they should be saying, no, I don't mind, go ahead, right? But they say, yeah, go ahead, or yeah, whatever, right? But if you're saying yes to do you mind, then that means he minds, Don't bother him, I mean, but we always make that mistake, right? So if you're talking to somebody and they seem friendly, like they're not trying to get away from you, and you ask them, do you mind, and they say yes, it's not always that they just made a mistake. Like we make this mistake all the time. Do you mind? The answer should be no if you want to help the person, but people say yes all the time. So that's an interesting thing to keep in mind as well.
No, I don't. The right question is no, I don't mind.
No, I don't mind. Yeah. If somebody asks you, do you mind, and you want to help them, you say, no. Do you mind? No, I don't mind. Right? But maybe native speakers or people are, normal conversation. If you say no to somebody, it sounds like you're denying them immediately. Right? So, but that's why people say, yeah, go ahead or something, right? But really, in response to that question, yes is negative. You should not bother them if they mind. Right? So it's a very small thing, but I hear it all the time in English. I see it on TV. Like professional people are saying, yes to that question, but they want to help. So these are some of those specific examples, guys, with mind, especially would you mind, or do you mind, or do you have a minute? Words like that, right? Phrases like that. Do you guys have any questions about any of these topics, any of these constructions? Yeah.
If I ask you, would you mind? Is the same? The answer is the same.
Yeah, answer is the same.
I wouldn't mind, or I don't mind.
I don't mind. I wouldn't mind. Either one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, either one. So you don't have to anything that has mind in English. When we use it as a verb, right? Do you mind? The verb mind means to be hurt by, to be offended by. Like people say, don't mind, but I have to tell you something, right? Please don't take this the wrong way. Like you're telling somebody something bad about themselves, right? Like maybe I tell my friend, please don't mind, but you were very rude to that girl last night at the party, right? So don't mind means relax, like please don't take this the wrong way, right? So to mind means to be offended, to be hurt by something. Would you mind? Would you be hurt if I ask you a question? And they say yes, well then you shouldn't say it, but that's the problem. That's the problem with when it comes to native speakers.
Okay.
We say yes all the time for that. So, any other questions, guys, about this? We're going to make some sentences now if you guys don't have questions.
No, no question.
No questions? All right. Anatoly and Rafael, you guys are both okay?
Yes, maybe question about the difference between
Yeah.
hi and hello.
Mm.
As I think it is more formal when we say hello, and less formal hi. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's much more formal to say hello. Hi is something very casual, friendly, and even in a business situation, like when I was meeting like much older people, you say hi as a way to maybe just be very casual with the person, right? If you want to say a casual greeting, hi, right? Some people, they can respond with hello, they can respond with also hi, whatever the case might be, right? You say hi to somebody, they can say hi, they can say hello, right? But hello is definitely more formal. Like I have a friend who, if you call him, the first thing he says is, he says something like, "Talk to me." He doesn't say hi or hello. He says, "Talk to me."
Yeah.
So
It's straightforward.
yeah. And he's kind of crazy though. He does that with everybody. So, but when you answer the phone, generally we say hello. That's the one time everybody says hello, really, right? Yeah.
And what is the answer when people say "What's up"? I think not much. What about you? Or what is the right answer to this question?
Perfect. Not much. What about you? That's perfect, right? What's up? Not much. Everything's good. Everything's normal, right? What's up is just the same as how's it going, almost, right? So I say a lot, how's it going? That's my phrase almost, right? I think a lot of you guys have heard that from me, but yeah, how's it going? What's up? Nothing much, or everything's good. How about you, right? And even in common conversation, we don't even say how about, we just say I'm good, and you, and you, what about you? Like in Spanish, you guys have that a lot. Estoy bien, y tú? Exactly. So that's very, very.
You answer in the same way. What's up and how's it going? Nothing
Yeah, same thing, same thing. Yeah, what's up is like so casual, right? How's it going? Same thing, so casual, right? How are you doing? Now that's more formal, right? I mean, how are you doing today? Kind of sounds British, but we use it a lot. Also, how are you doing? How do you feel? Right? There are people who save words. Yeah, one exactly, right? Why waste words when you can say the same thing in less words, right?
Yeah.
And hey, when you say hey.
Yeah, hey is like the most casual, like the very quick, very hey, how's it going?
Like hi.
Yeah, hi, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? Right? Very, very similar.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I heard also instead a good morning, for example, just word morning.
Yeah.
Is it a polite expression or not? Not almost.
It's a very friendly expression, honestly. It's a very friendly expression. If somebody says morning, morning, how's it going? It's very friendly, right? Nobody will think that you're being impolite. It's just, a very nice way of saying morning, good morning or morning, right? But that's the only time we use morning. We don't say for afternoon, we don't say afternoon.
Or now you say night. No?
Yeah, nighty night. We do say nighty night, right? Nighty night is usually to little kids though, right? Say to children, like.
And this one, I night.
Yeah, that one also exactly. Nighty. Well, we actually pronounce it nighty night, Liliana. We say nighty night, right? So nighty night, and it's you say to little kids like, people. There's a phrase that parents tell their kids. They say, nighty night. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Right? Like, make sure you don't let the bed bugs bite. Hopefully, your bed doesn't have bed bugs, but it's a common phrase just for children to learn. To when they're going to sleep. Nighty night, sweet dreams, kind of like those things that you tell little kids usually, sweet dreams. So those are nice phrases we have, right? So let's start with some examples, guys. Let's think about, we used the example of the store before. Let's think of an example. Why don't you guys come up with your own examples? Choose any place you want, right? The airport, a new city, a shop, a restaurant, exactly, yeah. Why don't you guys just come up with whatever you like, right? Just tell us the scenario first, just tell us the location, and then give us your sentence, right? Give us your question in the polite form. Anatoly, do you mind starting?
Okay.
Yeah.
For example, I came to the dance pool and in nightclub, and I'm going to invite a woman for the dance. Maybe I could say, "Don't you mind to dance with me?" Or if it could be more informal expression. Oh, hello. A nice evening. How are you? Let's dance?
Yeah, why not, right? That's the second one was very, very casual, right? Hello, beautiful. How's it going? No, I'm just joking. But you can, right? You can if you want, right? Depends how well you know this lady, Anatoly, right? But
Yes, yes.
hello, how's it going? Let's dance, right? Or you can say, so if we use do you mind, right? Sometimes we use do you mind dancing, right? So we actually make the verb in the ing form. Would you mind dancing with me, right? Would you mind, would you like to dance? We also say would you like a lot, right? So would you sometimes has the verb with ing at the end, you know, would you, I'm sorry, actually, guys. I've got a little confused there. Would you mind and then verb ing, right? Would you mind dancing with me, right? That's one example. Or you could say, would you like to and then a verb, right? Would you like to dance with me? Would you like to, you know, whatever, right? Would you like to help me, right? Would you like to show me? Would you mind showing me? So after mind, we have the verb in the continuous tense, right? Juan is a gentleman. He goes up to a girl and says, "You dance or don't you? You know, you dance or not?" That's not polite, right? I mean, it's like you see somebody, it's exactly. But yeah, honestly, that's great, right? The first example was also really good that you gave us, right? But it was a little bit longer. It's like when I was talking about that fake police story, right? Where I start very polite, like, "Hello, you know, I'm sorry to bother you, but you're very beautiful. Would you mind dancing with me?"
All
You
the volume.
know, exactly. Just more volume, right? And maybe it's just hollow, right? Maybe empty words. We don't want to use empty words, especially if you want to dance with somebody. But great job, though, honestly. Great job. Fantastic use of those words, right? Juan, what about you? So the scenario and then the sentence as well.
Scenario. What about, for example, oh my God, in the airport, to check in the check-in, you can ask, for example, could you tell me what gauge I have to be?
Fantastic, fantastic. Could you tell me what gate I have to be at, right?
I have to be that. Okay.
Yeah. Could you tell me what gate I have to be at, right? At what gate do I have to be, right? So remember how we say, remember the words on, in, and at, right? At a certain location at a specific point. So for a gate or for a door, things like that, we use at, right? So could you mind telling me what gate I have to be at, right? Or
Okay.
I'm sorry. Could you please tell me, or could you tell me what gate I have to be at? Fantastic. That's great. That's a great option. Could you tell me what gate I have to be at? Right. Fantastic. Fantastic. That works really well. Liliana, what about you? Another scenario, or any scenario you like, and one of the sentences, yeah.
For example, I'm in the restaurant, so I say to the waitress, could I see the menu, please? But could you, I don't know if I use at the beginning, please. Could I see the menu, please?
Yeah, you can use it at the end. or you could use it after you also. Could you please show me the menu? Or could you please bring me the menu? Something like that, right? So for you, we would use the please right after the you, or at the end of the sentence is fine, right? If the subject is you, then we put the please right after, right? The you, or we put it at the end of a sentence. Or we could also say, could you blah, 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 blah.
Could you please show
and then
me the menu?
Yeah, could you please show me the menu? Could you please bring me the menu, right?
Okay. If I say, for example, when I ask for the check, I think, could you bring me the check? Could you please bring me the check?
Yes, perfect. Could you please bring me the check? Yeah, absolutely, 100% correct, right? Could you please bring me the check or bring us the check, whatever, right? And then, or you could say, could you bring us the check, please? Right? Could you bring me the check, please? Please is at the end also works really well.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And even in more informal situations, people just say, the check, please. They don't even say, could you? It's like, we will take the check right now, please. We can take the check, please.
The check, please.
Yeah. Or just the check, please. Yeah. Works very well.
Can I ask, for example, may I have a cup of coffee? Can I use may?
May I have a cup of coffee? Yeah. But in a restaurant, it's like too formal.
Yeah.
It's good. It's really nice. It's very polite. But I mean, at the same time, you're like, they're gonna give it to you. They're not gonna say no, right? At a restaurant, at least. So you could say, may I please get a coffee? It works. It's very polite. There's nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very polite. And Rafael, please, one example from you with the scenario first, if you don't mind.
It could be at the hairdresser, and I could say, yes, sir, I enjoy a lot with what are you doing on my head, but if you don't mind, could you cut my hair a little straight than you are doing, because I prefer to have it longer than you are doing. If you don't mind, please.
Yeah.
Don't put so much.
Fantastic. You're at the hairdresser, right? Sir, you're very polite, Rafael. Super polite. You start with the sentence at the beginning. Sir, I love your haircut, but
I heard at least with Liliana and others, at least 5 classes of polite questions in Colingo.
So you know this subject very well. Yeah. It's great, but you have a great beginning to your question, right? You're complimenting them. Sir, I love this haircut you're giving me, but could you please? Yeah, no, it's awesome, right? Could you please cut my hair more straight, because I want my hair longer, if you don't mind, right? Sometimes we add the if you don't mind at the end of a sentence to sound even more polite, right? Could you please do something for me, if you don't mind, right? Too much, guys. Honestly, like it's too much politeness, right? So.
And I say, could you do me a favor?
Could you do me a favor? Fantastic. Very normal, very casual. Could you do me a favor? Perfect. You can say that to someone on the street, even. Could you do me a favor and hold my bag when I, something like you're on the street, you have a lot of things going on. Would you mind taking a picture of us? Right? Yeah, tourists use that a lot, right? Would you mind taking a picture of us, and you're next to some statue or whatever, you give the camera to somebody on the street, right? It works very well. And yeah, Juan, with the British way, what did you mean by that?
It's the British way, because they are very extremely polite.
Yeah. British people tend to be very polite. And it's nice, but I think it's also good to be polite, but not overly polite,
Extremely polite.
Yeah.
There is people that is very, I don't know how to say in English, it's empalagosa. They are extremely polite, that sometimes it's not quite well. It's like start to bother you, I think.
Yeah, they sound fake, right? I mean,
yeah, you got it.
If somebody sounds really polite all the time and they're laughing, oh, I'm sorry. No, they sound like fake, like you're not being genuine with the people. You sound like you're trying too hard, right? So it's finding that balance, yeah.
Excuse me, Farhan. I have a
Sure.
question.
Sure, sure.
Oh,
Go ahead.
oh,
Yeah.
Okay, but
wow.
well, if I want someone to clear, I don't know how to say, clear the plates, please
Uh-huh.
clear the plates, or how do you say that?
Like you're at the restaurant, right?
Uh-huh.
And so you're done with your food, right? So, uh, that's a very good question. Usually the waiters come and take the stuff, but if you want them to clean the plates away or whatever, you could say, excuse me, sir or madam, would you mind? Actually, no. It's better to start by saying, we're actually done with this. Would you mind um, bringing us either the check, or would you mind bringing us
Mhm.
the next, like, would you mind bringing us the dessert menu, right?
Uh-huh.
That's even more polite. That's like me kind of being fake, right? But it's like, let's say you're eating your meal and you like it or whatever, but you're done and you want the next step to begin, right?
Uh-huh.
So maybe usually the next step at most restaurants, they ask you if you want dessert, right? So you can say, could you please bring us the dessert menu? We're actually done here, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm actually done with this. Would you mind bringing me the dessert menu, or would you mind bringing me the check, or the check, please? We're actually done,
Mhm.
And even more, like, done might sound a little harsh. So I sometimes say something like, we're actually wrapping up, right? This is like me just being crazy, right? So if I say we're actually wrapping up something means to be finishing it, right? So we're actually wrapping up here. If you don't mind, could you bring us the check? Right? We're wrapping up, we're finishing, right? And most restaurants, the waiter can tell if you're not touching the food, whatever. They realize that there's a problem, or they realize that you don't want the food, so they might ask you, are we all set? Is everything okay? Are we all set, right? You can also say, we're all set, this is good, but could you please bring us something else? Or could you please bring us the dessert menu, or the check, whatever the case is. Kind of signaling to them that the next step, you want that next step to start.
Okay.
Right.
It's better instead of saying, please clear the plates.
Yeah, I haven't heard that before, so I think it'd be nicer to say like that we're actually wrapping up, we're finishing up, we're wrapping up, right? Could you please bring us the next meal, or the next the menu, or the check?
Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead, yeah.
Wrapping up is you're trying to say in the word you are in a hurry? No.
No, actually, wrapping up just means that you're finishing up something, right? So even in the context of, like, let's say you're working on something, right? And somebody says, how much longer? How much longer are you going to take on this project? Oh, I'm actually wrapping it up. I'm actually wrapping up right now. I'm finishing up. I'm close to being complete. Right.
Okay.
So that's another. It's kind of colloquial, right? Like I don't ever see it in like normal or in literature or things like that. It's very colloquial, modern day, conversational. We're wrapping up right now, or we're finishing up. Yeah. So
What could be the literal translation?
the literal translation of wrapping up. So, like when you're wrapping a gift. Like you have a gift that you want to give somebody for Christmas, and you have the bows and all that wrapper on it, right? You're wrapping it up. You're done. You're almost done, and you're going to present it to somebody now. Like when you wrap something up, you are preparing to finish it, right? Like you bought the gift, you bought the wrapping paper, you bought the bow. Everything is pretty. You're wrapping it up. You're completing it.
You can say instead, it's almost done.
It's almost done. Yeah, it's the same idea. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's the same idea, yeah. We're almost done here. We're actually finishing up. We're actually wrapping up. We're almost done. Yeah, that's a very good way of saying it too. We're almost done. Would you mind bringing us the check? Would you mind bringing us the dessert menu, whatever, right? Or whatever the case is, really, honestly. Depends on the restaurant. Sometimes they have different things, yeah. Those are great questions. Yeah.
If I say I'd like to make a reservation, I'd like to make a table reservation, how?
I'd like to make a reservation. Yeah, we don't actually need to say table, right? But you call somebody, you call the restaurant, I would like to make a reservation, please. Right? I would like to make a reservation. Then the guy will tell you, or the woman will tell you, for how many, right? Most common question is for how many and for what time, right? So for 5 people at 6 o'clock, right? And then they'll tell you, okay, they'll take your last name and they'll reserve the seat.
Sorry, but there is no more place.
Yeah, right. They could say that also, right? Sorry, we're booked for the night, right? Sorry, we have no more empty seats. Or no, that sounds dumb. Not empty seats. Sorry, we don't have any. Sorry, we're not accepting reservations at the moment.
We are full.
We are full, yeah. But like that's the most polite way. Sorry, we are not accepting reservations tonight, right? I am terribly sorry, right? This is me being fake, right? I'm terribly sorry, right? I'm so sorry, but sir, we are not accepting reservations tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't know. Polite people sound fake. It's if you become too polite, it really is a balance, right? I don't know. I'm terribly sorry.
That's why I try to say that you have to be polite, but not in extreme.
Yeah, yeah. I usually what I do is I look to see the person's reaction. If the person is fake like me, then it's good. Then it's great because we're both being fake to each other, right?
Okay.
Or the person is realistic, like no, this guy is really fake and he's not liking what I'm saying. Then I decrease my level of politeness, right? Or I decrease the words, Whatever, guys. I'm just joking around now, but yeah, those are other ways we can see this kind of stuff. So, okay, guys, any questions about this stuff?
No.
Okay, we're pretty much done, but I wanted to quickly, in terms of the time, but I am going to stick around for a little bit longer. I will be sticking around for more than the next 2 minutes. So if you guys would like to listen to the article, absolutely more than welcome to. But I know you guys might have to leave also, so feel free whenever. So this one right here, guys, today's article, focusing on the need for fur in China, right? So this new market has emerged in China where luxury goods, coats, especially fur coats, are now very much in demand in China when it comes to the people there. A lot of the rich people in China, I think, are really interested in fur coats. So we'll see what happens there. We're going to not spend too much time on it, hopefully, but let's see how far we can get. So fur product prices rise on growing demand in China, right? Growing demand. Seoul, South Korea. The prices of fur products for fall and winter of this year have sharply risen up to 30% from a year ago in South Korea due to increased demand for them in China. So the South Korean fur coats or fur products are now very much in demand in China. Increasingly, 30% rise in just 1 year, right? That's very significant. The sharp rise was attributable to growing demand for the fur products in China, the industry sources said. Furthermore, China's demand for all things fur has pushed up their prices by an average of 10% to 15% in markets around the world. When China wants something, the rest of the world feels the pressure, right? Because it's 1 billion plus people, whatever, huge economy, right? So their demand has increased an average of 10 to 15%, and the whole world has felt this increase in demand, right? Despite the rise in prices of fur products, their sales are expected to grow that same 10 to 15% this year, right? They're getting more expensive, but it doesn't seem to be stopping the demand. The demand is still there, right? Lot Department Store, South Korea's largest department store chain, predicted that the growth in sales of fur products is forecast to reach about 15%. So they're all saying about 10 to 15% growth for all of these things, right? Regardless of the price hike, more Chinese tourists to South Korea are steadily buying fur products, and the anticipated severe cold weather in this winter and recovering consumer confidence may also pull up fur product sales with a double-digit growth, right? So kind of economic terms here, but they're saying double-digit means more than 10, between 10 and 99, right? So a number with 2 digits. So the increase, the reason for the demand may be because it's going to be a very cold winter in China. People are expecting a very cold winter, and that people have money now. Chinese tourists in South Korea are buying a lot of these fur coats and fur products, right? So the article is actually pretty short. I'm kind of happy it's that short, but we see this the fur coat assembly line or the fashion line, right? Seems to be, I don't know why she's wearing green lipstick. That's kind of interesting, but You know, this is a very fashionable fur coat, and it's causing the entire world to feel the pressure, right? Because China wants something. So, what do you guys think about this? I mean, Juan, yeah, poor animals, right? What do you mean by that, Juan, if you don't mind starting? Juan, you there?
Oh, I was talking to myself all the time.
No problems, no problems. It's the mute button, right? The mute button. We heard from
Yeah. Oh
Rafael
my
as
God.
well. Yeah, go ahead, Juan. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was saying that it was my first thought when I started reading this, but because I don't believe that they are made on artificial fur. I think it comes from animals, so
Yeah. These
that's
poor animals, right?
why I in my
They're gonna get killed probably in larger
Yes,
numbers. Yeah.
sad to know that because they
But
kill a lot of animals to
yeah,
this,
it's
this
kind of it is
animal.
absolutely it is sad, you know. And I think in more tropical countries, we have Anatoly from Russia. Russia has a lot of fur coats, right, Anatoly? I mean, what you guys
Ye-
wear in the winter?
Yes, yes, but maybe it is changing nowadays. I think it is less popular to buy fur.
Yeah, you know, Anatoly, it's interesting. A few years ago, when I was studying Soviet history, right, because I was kind of crazy, I decided to buy one of those traditional Russian caps, right? Called, I think
Uh-huh.
it's called an ushanka. Is it called ushanka?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
that's right. Yes.
I bought an ushanka made of rabbit hair. Okay,
Uh-huh.
thing was very expensive. It was like maybe $200, but it's the warmest thing I own. I
yeah.
swear to God, if
Unfortunately,
yeah, if it's freezing outside and I have like just a normal blanket, if I wear the ushanka, I feel like I'm in like comfort zone, you know? Very, very comfortable. Very, I mean, it's high quality stuff. I feel bad for the animal, of course, but you know, it's something that if you want to protect yourself from the cold, if it's a cold winter, then I think it makes sense, right, to wear something like that, the ushanka,
Mhm.
or another fur coat or something like that, right? Rafael, is there a high demand for fur in Spain? Spain seems to me like a very fashionable country, a lot of money maybe in the fashion industry. What's the situation in Spain, if you don't mind sharing? Rafael, are you there? I think you're muted still, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe he's muted. Juan and Liliana, what about you guys? What was your reaction to this?
Um,
Besides the animals, I guess. Yeah,
I'm anyway. I'm against that people kill animals to make clothes. But I
for
think
fur.
why don't they make synthetic? I think it's not the same. Why don't they make synthetic pure artificial food instead of covered with animal fur?
Yeah, you know, it's a great question. All right, Rafael, see you later, man. Synthetic stuff is, I think it has the same effect, but it's not seen as luxurious, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not seen as having that like amazing you know, class or distinction. I don't know, honestly. Maybe those are the reasons. Yeah.
but according to what you said, uh, so you think people is more not for the utility, more for the luxury only?
I think that's definitely part of it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think luxury is a big part of it. When I bought this Ushanka, right, it was like $200. I could have bought 20 caps for $200, right? You can go outside and buy a nice cap like that is made from polyester, some synthetic material, right? And still does the job, right? But I don't know, I decided to spend the money and I was studying Soviet history. I actually walked into class wearing that one day.
Okay.
And my professor was like, "Oh, okay, we have a genuine, real Ushanka here, you know." And it was really funny. But I think the luxury is part of that, right? And I honestly don't know, Juan, how many rabbits it was, right?
Mm.
I think it was just one. I hope it was just one.
Oh
I
no, I don't
hope
think
so.
so.
I hope so.
Really? Maybe more than one. I don't know. Now I feel bad,
Maybe a
guys.
big one.
Yeah, maybe a bigger size rabbit or something like that. But I don't know. The luxury is part of the deal, definitely. I think. But why China and why now? Do you guys maybe know, or do you guys might maybe have an idea why China?
Why? No, I have no idea. I know that China is growing up so fast, but why? It's suppose it's not a fashion country like Paris or,
Italy.
but I
Yeah,
don't
it does.
know.
Maybe because they have the money now. Honestly, I think of the middle class in many parts of China have that luxurious kind of appeal. They have the money, so they're shopping in South Korea and Japan, in other countries, and they're buying these luxury items. So
So do you think here applies the saying who said people who have no money and they start to get it is crazy becomes something like that?
it becomes crazy when people who don't have money start buying stuff.
And start to have money.
Oh yeah, when people
Well, in
maybe.
Spanish it says cua- uh, la gente que no tiene dinero y llega a tener, loca se quiere volver.
Yes, it's
Oh
true.
yeah, yeah, absolutely right. People who don't have money and they suddenly get it or they get it, they go crazy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have. I guess it's maybe because now for the first time in China's history, the middle class actually has money that they can spend,
Mm.
on luxury items, or even the upper class, not just the middle class. I think the upper class also have a lot of money in China, like in the big cities like Shanghai, Beijing. Like there are some rich people in China now, right? And you don't have to be like a communist party member. You can just be a normal person, maybe a businessman. Last 25, 30, or 20 to 25 years, things have become really successful for many people in China. So maybe that's why. I honestly don't know. Anatoly, do you have any idea about this? Maybe why China?
I agree. The first reason could be grow up of Chinese economic and becoming wealthy
Yeah.
Chinese people.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, guys, it was a great class. Unfortunately, I have another meeting I need to run to right now, guys. But thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
And
Thanks a lot.
Thank
absolutely, did you guys
you.
have any other questions, last minute questions or anything like that?
No, great class.
No,
Awesome,
thank you very much.
awesome, awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of the day
Goodbye,
then.
goodbye,
Take
Thank
goodbye,
care.
you.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. Hey Juan, how's it going?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. What about you?
Good, good, good. Thanks for joining. How's life?
Yeah. Sorry, but a plane passing by, so I can hear.
Oh, no problems. I can wait.
There are very noises.
Leaves? Yeah. All the leaves are fallen. Yeah, so the leaves are gone. Most of them, I would say that, for example, we don't have that many pine trees here. You know, the pine trees, they don't have leaves, they have needles.
Uh-huh.
Those trees, those are still okay. But the normal trees, they don't have leaves. No. Last week, 2 weeks ago, they had maybe yellow leaves, red leaves. You know, the leaves changed color.
Uh-huh.
And then this week, there's really nothing. The leaves are all on the ground. They all fell.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
So the trees are naked.
the trees are naked. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Which, when the snow falls, the one of the nicest things about the winter is the snow falls on the trees, makes the trees look very beautiful. You know, the white branches of the trees, and you also get a lot of when you have ice, for example. It's bad for the road, but when the ice falls on the trees, it makes a very nice, beautiful kind of crystal like
Yeah,
image.
yeah. I
You
can
know,
imagine. Yeah.
yeah. So it's very nice at night especially because snow. I'm sure you've seen snow, but snow actually bounces light. It actually reflects light. So anytime you're outside and it's at nighttime, if there's snow on the ground, it looks brighter outside. Everything is bright because the light is reflecting from the snow.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
imagine you have to use sunglasses in order that you can the light don't bothers you, I think.
It's not that bad, honestly. It's not super bright. But it has some light, so you can when you're walking outside. You don't need sunglasses for. Actually, it depends. It depends. Sometimes I think people might use sunglasses if they're driving, for example, a long distance,
Mm-hmm.
and if the entire area had a lot of snowfall, right? Maybe this city and another city 1 hour away, we all got a large snowstorm. If the sun falls directly on the snow, right? Like maybe it's like morning time, like and it's not cloudy. The sunlight falls on the snow. It can get very bright.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. At night, though, not so bad. At night, for example, the lights outside or the lights in other places, it's not too bad. But if you're driving long distance, yeah, I think definitely it's good. That's going to be the first part of the class. We're going to look at how we make polite phrases. Then the second part of the class, we are actually going to be looking at an economic trend in China that is changing the way a lot of things are produced, a lot of products are produced, and specifically in the case of fur, right? So fur products, for example, fur coats, other kinds of luxury items. Chinese people are starting to increasingly demand these kinds of products. Whereas maybe before, a few decades ago, they were not the biggest market for fur coats or other kinds of clothing. Now fur has become a luxury commodity in China that is more desired. There's a high demand for it now from the Chinese people. So we'll take a look at that as well. Uh, to get started, guys, to get thinking about polite questions, I want to ask you guys a question myself. How would you, for example, let's say you're in a store, right? And since we're going to talk about coats today, let's imagine you're in some kind of a clothing store, right? And let's say you need to use the fitting room, right? In American English, we say fitting room or fitting room, but I don't know what they say in England, for example. It's the room where if you want to try a dress or a shirt before you buy, you can go to that room and you can try it on. You can see if it fits, right? So the fitting room would be one place that I would want to go. Is this jacket too big for me? Does it go well with this shirt? Let me ask somebody for help, right? So I could go up to somebody and I could say, "Excuse me, sir, would you mind telling me where the fitting rooms are?" Right? "Excuse me, sir, would you mind telling me where the fitting rooms are?" That's a very polite way to ask something, right? Would you mind is probably the most polite form that we will look at, right? I could also say, could you please help me find, could you please show me where the fitting rooms are, right? Could you please take me to the fitting rooms? I'm lost. I've been looking for them for 5 minutes, right? Whatever the case is. So let's think of ourselves as being in a store trying to ask a question. It doesn't have to be a fitting room. It doesn't have to be anything related to trying something on, but something that you could ask someone in a store. So let's get started, actually. Let's start with Anatoly, please. Uh-huh.
Okay.
How's life?
How's what?
How's life? How's everything?
How's life?
Uh-huh.
Well, is it must be, I think.
Yeah, life is good. I think the weather is finally getting nice. It's a Friday, so do you have any plans for the weekend?
Not yet. Not. No, I have nothing yet.
Nothing, no, nothing special planned.
Not that I remember because my memory is very bad. But
That's
no,
not a
no, no,
problem.
not that I remember.
Good, good. That's good. At least, I don't know. I like the weekend because you don't have to work and you can just relax at least at home and not have to worry about anything too important.
Well, in your case, but in my case, every day is like a weekend. I
Oh,
have
that's
so
true.
much to do every day.
Uh-huh. That's true. That's true. Is it is the weather changing over there, or is it not changing so
Yeah, yeah.
much?
It's we can say that the winter is coming because
Uh-huh.
it's getting a lot of cold. The temperature is getting down.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I think it's probably not going to snow here this week, but I think maybe in 2 or 3 weeks it'll definitely we'll have our first snowstorm.
Yeah, yeah. See
Yeah,
it.
'cause
It's not common at this time, all right?
sometimes it is common actually, honestly. It changes every year. In Iowa, the state that's immediately to our west,
Uh-huh.
they already got snow last month actually.
Ah,
So yeah, they got a very early snowstorm. Other places got snow very early, but we are still. It's relatively dry today. It's sunny. Nothing. Not very cold. It doesn't seem. It doesn't seem like it's very cold outside, but I
oh,
think it'll change. I think by Thanksgiving it will change. Another 2 weeks. Yeah.
okay. There is like in the movies that all the tree is falling, snow.
All the
Snow.
leaves have some sunglasses nearby.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you because the first time that I was in the snow, I have to wear because it's very bright.
Yeah, it can get very bright.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think 100%. Although, I need to buy sunglasses. That's actually a good idea. I, that reminds me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have sunglasses, but they're a little bit less powerful. I want one that's more fashionable and also a little bit more powerful. So,
Mm.
yeah. Liliana, how's it going? Welcome.
All is going good. Thank you.
Awesome.
Uh, Hi, Juan.
Hello, hello.
Thanks for joining, guys. Let's get started, actually. I realized the last class we had a bunch of people, so we don't want to wait until much later to start. So let's get started right now, guys, actually. Today we're going to be talking about polite questions. Or not polite questions, really, but how we can make polite phrases, right, in English. Hey, oh, bunch of people. Fantastic, fantastic. We got Hafa and we have Anatoly. Hey, how's it going, Anatoly?
Hello everyone. I'm fine, thank you.
Nice, nice. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
And Hafa, how's it going?
Yeah, perfect. I'm doing pretty well. Sorry for the delay, but I couldn't join before.
No worries, no worries. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Welcome. So,
Hi, everyone.
yeah, we're doing good.
Hmm.
Yeah. How's Hafa? You're in Brazil, right, Hafa?
No, I'm Spaniard. I'm from Spain in
You're from
Europe.
you're from Spain, so your name is actually Rafael, right?
Yeah, Rafael,
Not
yeah.
not Rafael. I'm sorry because
No,
I
it
some
doesn't
folks
matter.
some folks from Brazil they Rafael. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Rafa, welcome again. Welcome.
Thank you.
So yeah, guys, when it comes to looking at polite questions, we're going to be looking at polite questions today in our conversation, right? We want to be polite when we are talking to people, maybe people we don't know, people that are older than us, right? Whatever the society that you are in kind of dictates, right? It's important to be as professional and as polite as possible. So